So Bob here, Wrenchin with Bob, and so now I'm going to finish up the F850GS sprockets and chain, doing the reassembly in this episode, and get this thing back on the road and in a happier place and a safer place, frankly. This chain is in dire need of being reset, so we'll do that. Okay, point of note. So there's the new sprocket, and if you look, this side is smooth, and this side, the tooth area out here is raised as compared to the rest of this inner area here. So there's a lip right here. When I took the other one off, the lip is actually on the inside, not on the outside. And the only oddity for that for me, and what I had to kind of check out, was that the labeling for the 44 here is actually on the inside then, like this. And that's just the way it is. So in it goes, sprocket on. So sprocket is with the detent side down and the flat side up, or on the outside. Now the trick will be getting 110 Newton meters out of this while it's sitting there on the ground. But we'll see. So the idea here is just to get it snug, because you do want to do this. You do want to do a crisscross. Now that they're all snugged, let's go crisscross. If I can get 110 out of these, or something close. That was definitely not 110. But I do want to get these snugged down, kind of equal to each other, crisscrossing. Okay, so now for the real deal, in theory. Let's see if we can get this. All right. Reinstalling. I'm leaving this bit off for the moment to just give myself a little more room to play with. That went well. He says too early. Now let's get this lined up. So there's a flat side to this, to the axle, and you want to line that up with the metal piece there as the guide. Okay, so we've got our big washer, and we have our large mechanical lock nut. I'm just going to put this on until the lock engages, right to there, because I'm going to need to push this guy forward in order to get the chain on, or whatever. Right? It's all going to be a thing, and then I'll have to adjust the adjusters appropriately. So that's a rear sprocket. Alright, so the front sprocket, this is 17 tooth GT, and it is not a symmetric unit. Right, you can see that there's a big shoulder here. This shoulder is supposed to face outward, like this. Okay, so that went on nicely. And as you can see, there really isn't much room in this carrier, in this safety unit. Okay, so this is the bolt to secure the front sprocket, and what I've done is I've just taken a little steel wool and scratched off the green markings. The green markings are there by the prior mechanic once it was tightened down, that they tick, 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 mark the markings to make sure that you understand visually if it has slipped or loosened during its life, without having to recheck torques and things like that. So these two washers do come off. So from the bolt head, this washer, the big one, has a shoulder on it, and the shoulder goes to the inside. So this guy on, and then the shoulder to the inside, and then this one should have the cone shape outward this way, and then it also has to ride on the shoulder, around the shoulder, you know, not on in the edge of it. Like this should be like this, not like this, like this. So this should also have Loctite on it. So medium Loctite. Alright, so we got some blue Loctite on there. Now we can hand thread this in. And as we get towards where it's starting to snug up, it's probably not going to be right? So that washer needs to ride inside of that shoulder, and you can feel it kind of snap into place. And I'm just using my fingernail to kind of keep it in place until that's down there much tighter. So take a look at that and make sure it's concentric circles, right? Because it should be 50 Newton meters is our torque value. So this guy's set to 50. It's a 17 mil. What I've got now is I've got the chain laced through there, and I did install the Masterlink, which you can see here, slightly different posts running through there. And I installed that, that's not a clip style, I installed that using one of these Stockton tools thing from Cycle Gear, which sometimes those guys get a bad rap for putting out kind of marginal tools. But I've used this particular kit for many years now. I loosened the chain adjusters in order to get the new chain on, because this chain is not stretched while the other one is stretched. So I had to back it out like, normally I would back this thing off about 5 full turns in order to get the chain off and back on. I did that, and then I wound up doing another 4, right? So I backed it off 9 on both, 9 full turns in order to get the new chain on and over the sprocket. Next up is to reinstall the chain guard. And so we'll do the two Torx T30s in the back down here, and also up in the center part. Alright, so here's our little rivet nut dude. See if I can press him back into place. Not much trouble. Hooray. So that's nice and firm on there. Now I can just tap that thing in with some inappropriate tool. There we are. Alright, so that's in there. Now we'll tighten down this back one here. Probably plenty, and that may be a little too much, frankly. Alright, so that's in place. Next up. So what we do here is we're going to place this in place, and then we're going to line this dude up. Okay, looking. Alright, so we're going to put in our bolts. Alright, so our two T40s are going to go up top. and we are not going for tight. We're just putting these in because the swing arm bolt is going to become the next important piece. So you want all this stuff lined up so that tightening that thing down doesn't disturb any of the rest of the fit and fitment. Alright, so that's the top two. The bottom two here, and here are the two matching T50s. And then the one in the back down here is the shorter T50 that goes in there. So this is the big T60 Swingarm Bolt that has to go in next. So the other bolts are just kind of loosely fit in there. These aren't even close to here. These aren't even close to shouldered up. But I wanted to cover something on this bolt. It is a 200 Newton meter torque spec, which we'll see if I can even get that. But at any rate, there is no Loctite to be had on this swing arm bolt. So the idea here is that you want everybody else sort of in place, right? This whole plate is still movable, right? And that tightening this guy is the most important piece. Now I want to tighten this thing without dropping it off the center stand accidentally. Let's check it one more time. 200 Newton meters, baby. 200. I've never actually gone. That is to the limit on my torque wrench. So I'm going to take this to 150. Make sure that I get there. I'm going to make sure I get there, and then I'm going to boost it up a little at a time to see how close to 200 I get. I don't think I've ever done anything to 200, frankly. So let's see how this goes. All right. So there's 150. Wow. Alright, I think this is 180. I got 180. Now, for the easy ones. Okay, so our bigger ones, these guys, 1, 2, 3, these are all 38 Newton meters. And the two little ones here, littler, the T40s, these are 28 Newton meters. So 38 Newton meters, 28 Newton meters. Okay, so all the bolts on the plate are accounted for now. The swing arm bolt at 200 Newton meters, the 3 T50s at 38 Newton meters, and the 2 T40s at 28 Newton meters. So now it's time to reconnect this dude to here. So this is a press fit to start with. All right, get that in the ball socket there. Click. All right, so it does kind of pass a point of no return and click into place. And then we got to put that little teeny circlip with the little guide pin on there. Alright, so that's not so hard with proper lighting. And now I just rotate it around into place, and that's it. Alright, so that guy's on. Put this dude back in its place. Click into place. Click. Followed by pressing the little white piece. Make sure that that gets pressed down into the downward position to lock it into place. And now so for this dude goes into place here first, and then there's a push pin that comes up here. So there's a little push locator here. So we slide this into its little home, and then we tuck this back in behind it. Strap. So that's just an easy press in, no big deal. And then this guy goes back together. And this is a T30. And this is not a super tight torque either. Alright, so we're nearing the end of the deal here. So I've taken the bike off the stand, and then I use the chain adjusters back here to adjust the chain to 40 to 50 millimeters of play in the center part of the stand while it is on the side stand. I've done this before, where I've said to do it with the center stand and no weight on the wheel. That is incorrect. The correct way is to have no additional weight on the vehicle, but to have it on the side stand. So it does have a little bit of compression in the rear shock. So that's that. Only thing left for me to do here is I'm going to tighten the main nut here down to 110 Newton meters, and that's it. And then we'll take it out for a test drive, and it'll probably sound a little bit different, a little healthier, and that'll be it. I'll have a chain and 2 sprockets ready to roll. So I'm at, as a mileage check, for those that want to make comparisons and whatever, 17,500 miles is where I'm at, and typically they say somewhere around 20,000 miles. I've done some off-road and some grunt there, but for the rest of it, I mean, I'm not a super hot dog, so the amount of stretch and everything else that I get out of my chain is probably less than some people that are hot dogging it a lot. But at any rate, the off-road probably does cause it a bit more unhealth over time. But anyway, that's the scoop. Wrenchin with Bob. Hope everybody enjoyed the video, and feel free to leave comments, and please like and subscribe and smash that whatever button, you know, whatever they say.